are the regulars, Be'ezrat Hashem. So first of all, Batay, Erev Tov Mevorach, Be'ezrat Hashem, B'zchut Rabbi Pinto, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give a big baracha and tzlacha, B'siyata Deshmaya, and as well as Rosh Chodesh Tov. Like I mentioned yesterday, Be'ezrat Hashem, it's in the Gemara, that every person that mechadesh et HaChodesh Bizmana, a person that renews the month, and he does it in the correct way, on its point, B'kedusha, B'tahara, with Torah, making it a positive Rosh Chodesh. First of all, put aside where it says that the way you start your Rosh Chodesh, that's how your entire month will continue. So that's why Erev Rosh Chodesh is like Erev Shabbat. You always have a lot of Yitzhara that attacks a person the day before Rosh Chodesh. But also on the day of Rosh Chodesh, the way you direct it is how the entire month will continue on to pass. So that's why Rosh Chodesh, it's very important always to make sure that it's positive. But not only positive, but we fill it up with Kedusha. So that is one. But the Gemara says that the person that brings Rosh Chodesh b'kedusha, b'tahara, with extra holiness, that person, ma'aleh alav hakatuv, that person, it is considered and it is written like he is receiving the Shekhinah itself. That the person that brings down the kedusha on Rosh Chodesh, he receives the Shekhinah mamash upon him. And that's why, like we mentioned yesterday, on Rosh Chodesh we need to dress a little bit differently. So I wore a long suit on Rosh Chodesh to change a little bit the way we dress, to make it a little bit more festive. It's very, very important. So Baruch Hashem that we all gathered today, and whoever was here yesterday and today, his merit is doubled and tripled and quadrupled, Baruch Hashem. So in the merit of Rosh Chodesh, in the merit of the next thing that I'm going to speak about, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless us all the brachot. Amen. Today is also, actually, officially, the Ilula of what? The Ilula of Rabbi Moshe, David Moshe, but also of Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik. Yesterday, I said a beautiful story about Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik. I'm not going to repeat it, but it was a story of how Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually used him 10, 20, 30 years before Rabbi Shimon was actually put in position in order to prepare a miracle and to act. And whoever wants, yet can see yesterday's show to know that story. But there was something very unique about Rabbi Shimon that a lot of the times is taken for granted. So Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik, first of all, is actually stamped with this title, HaTzadik, the Tzadik. That only very rare people actually receive this title, like Yosef HaTzadik, Noach HaTzadik, this week's Parasha. That to receive the title HaTzadik, you have to be really at a high level. So that is first of all. Second of all, Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik was a Kohen Gadol, which served in the second temple for an incredible amount of years. So we know that the first temple, there were very few Kohanim Gadolim, main priests, that actually served. Why? Because when would a Kohen Gadol step down from his position? It's a little bit sad. When would he step down? When he would die. But not when he would die like a regular person from old age. Whenever he would go on Yom Kippur into Kodesh HaKodashim, and he would not exit. Because if throughout the year he did a sin, he went into Kodesh HaKodashim and he wasn't able to enter. That's why they even put bells on the garment of the Kohen Gadol. That if on the robe, and the rope, nachon, that if they would hear the bell stopping, they would know he died, and they would pull the rope and they would take him out of Kodesh HaKodashim. Then they had a second Kohen Gadol, like a vice Kohen Gadol, like a vice president, vice Kohen Gadol, that would wait, and if he passes away, he replaces it. And like that they had many. Like that they had many Kohanim Gadolim that were on standby to see whether or not the first one sinned or not. It said that in the first Bet HaMikdash, on average, you had maybe every 3 years a Kohen Gadol was replaced. The second Bet HaMikdash, every year you had 2.5 to 3 Kohanim Gadolim that passed away every single Yom Kippur. That the second temple, people were bad. They were crooked. It even said that they bought the title of Kehuna. Kohen Gadolim that would be replaced every single year. Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik lived in the second temple. And it said that for 40 years of his life, he entered into Bet Kodesh HaKodashim and exited, and everything was fine. That even more than that, it said that in the first temple, there were 10 miracles that existed, that in the second temple didn't exist. Because in the first temple was much more holy, so there were 10 miracles that happened. The second temple, people were not very straight, So they didn't have the merit to get to those miracles. One of those miracles was the Ketoret. And this is what our shur, I'm going to speak about Bezat Hashem. It's a shur I've been wanting to do for a long time. The Ketoret. What is the Ketoret? Ketoret are the 11 spices. So in any case, 11 spices, dot, that 11 spices that the Kohen would actually bring twice a day, that it said the smoke that would come from the burning of those 11 spices, when it would go up to Shamayim in the first temple, it would go up like a complete straight stick. That usually smoke, it spreads around, it's like fire. But in the first temple, to show the miracle of Hashem, the smoke would go up in a complete round, like a pole, like a complete elevator from inside the Echal till the Shamayim. The second temple, it would act like regular smoke. It would fly everywhere and it would spread around. The 40 years that Rabbi Shimon Tzaddik was in service, the miracle of the Ketoret existed. That it was in place, which was something that was extraordinary. So we're going to speak about a little bit the Ketoret in a few minutes. But that, Rabotai, is the power and the merit of Rabbi Shimon Tzaddik. That it was not like any regular Tzaddik. That not only that, something that I want to add, that you don't have Tanaim that the Gemara mentions when they passed away. So I give you an example. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he wrote the Zohar HaKadosh, nachon? When is his Hilula? No, when is Hilula? No. Lag BaOmer is not Hilula. We don't know his Hilula. There is no place where it said that the Hilula of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is on Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer we celebrate because it's the fire of the Torah that was brought down that stopped the plague of the 24,000 students. But we don't actually know the date of when he passed away. And the same thing goes for almost all the time. But the Gemara saw it as important to make a dot that Rabbi Shimon Tzaddik was special enough, and it was such a loss when he passed away, which clearly he didn't pass away in Yom Kippur. That's another thing. That they added and they made a point to announce when he passed away in today's date. So really, Rabotai, we see how big Rabbi Shimon Tzaddik was. May his merit protect us all and give us big beracha, netzlacha, and b'siyata d'shmaya. I encourage everyone to light a candle b'at Hashem for him today. Yesterday, Rabotai, in the class, we spoke about the concept of how a person can take all the suffering, all the hardships, all the tough things in his life, and actually overcome them and turn that bad into good. That a lot of times, the pinches that we receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu are actually the cause of merit that we receive. Now, the concept of Botah is simple. Because even sometimes, or most of the time in our life, those hardships that we go through are a part of our tikkun. That when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends down Neshama to the world, He sends them down to do mitzvot, to do good deeds, to do happy deeds, but also with that comes what? A little bit of hard work in things that may be a little bit more complicated. You know, my father said a beautiful story a few nights ago. You remember the story? Beautiful story on the neshama of a person. So you know, and we can compare this to a person's life. It's like one time, there was a very rich man that did some poor business decisions, and he fell down and became very poor. So one day he got up, and he had an idea to do a big business that would bring him back to the top. So he said, in order to do this business, I need some money to start. So he went to a very rich man. He told this very rich man, I need $100,000, dachuf, in emergency, to go and to make some investments that I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'm going to pay you back very fast. And with that money, I'm going to do a lot of tzedakah. So this rich man looked at this man. He said, why are you coming to me? How much money do you need? He said, I need $100,000. So the rich man told this man that is trying to do business, trying to go back to the greatness that he was. He said, go to 100 people, ask from each one $1,000, and there you go, you have $100,000. Why are you dropping this entire package on me? He said, you know, if I come back to the top, I promise you I will return you the good, I will do everything. And he did everything to convince him. He said, look, why do I have to help you with $100,000? Isn't it better for me to help 100 people with $1,000 if we're already flipping it backwards? I can help much more people with the same amount of money. But somehow he was able to convince him to lend him the money. So he said, okay, I lend you the money on one condition. That in 2 months of time, exactly, you return me the money on the moment where the date comes. So he said, Bivadai, I promise you, the moment the date comes, I will bring you all the money, and the way you gave it to me, don't worry. So they brought two witnesses, they took a contract, they wrote a contract, they filled everything up, they went to the court to make sure the contract was validated, everything was perfect. 2 months pass. The man that's looking to collect the loan that he gave goes to the man of the house. He says, okay, 2 months pass, give me the money. The man that took the money as a loan goes to his closet, opens up his closet, and takes out the exact pile of $100,000 that he lent him in the exact same packaging, in the exact same wrapper, that he did not do anything with the money. He took the money, brought it to his house, put it in a safe, locked the safe for 2 months, and after 2 months he opened it up to return the money. So he says, Ina, he goes to the closet, takes out the money, the cash, and gives it to him. He says, Ina, this is the loan that you gave me. I owe you nothing. Now the rich man is looking. He says, I don't understand. I lent you $100,000 to take it, to spend it, to go, to invest, to buy, maybe to lose some, to make some, to take that $100,000, to do something with it. And you return it to me in the exact same way. So my father said, maybe we can say that it's like a person that comes down to the world. But bottom line, we come down to the world not to just sit down with our neshama and to keep it in the exact same way that it came down. To take it, to use it, to spend it, to make some, to do some mitzvot, also to fall sometimes. And sometimes the falling is a part of the reparation, like the Arizal says, that every single person, before he starts his tikkun, before he starts his reparation of what he did maybe in his previous gilgul, he needs to go down to the exact same point of where his last gilgul started, finished. What does that mean? It means if you come down now, if a person comes down now to repair the fact that he didn't keep Shabbat, or to repair the fact that he got to a certain level of impurity, in order to start that reparation, he needs to go down to that exact same level, and only from there, he can go back up. That actually, you come down to the world, to even dirty sometimes our neshama, in order to repair. Like what Rabbi Nachman says, it's a yerida, letzorech, aliyah. We descend down, but sometimes in order to go up. So actually we come down to the world, sometimes to go through happy moments, to go through sad moments, and to build, and like what that story says, to use that money in order to build and to bring something great in the end of the day. But the other questions could be asked is, how can a person come to the point where he does that tikkun, where he repairs what he's supposed to repair, but without necessarily needing to go through the hardships? How can a person actually repair his neshama? Put that aside. If we're blaming all the hardships on the neshama and what he needs to repair, how can a person repair the neshama without going through so many hardships and difficulties? If it's with parasha, if it's with zivug, if it's with banefesh, anything possible, any suffering that one has. How can that be? How can that be brought to an accomplishment? And maybe there's secrets that we could share. Maybe there's something that with Kabbalah, a secret in Kabbalah that we can all share and learn something beautiful. So there's a beautiful Zohar that really teaches us something amazing. It says one time, Rabbi Elazar was traveling on the road. And in the entire Zohar, we'll see that most of the Zohar was actually written either in the cave, or if not in the cave, where? On the road. So the Zohar says, while Rabbi Elazar was traveling, he was going from one place to another. He was sitting down, he started to do the Limud Torah. And the Gemara says in many places that whenever they studied Torah and when they actually worked, it was not just a study like we study and read. When they would surround themselves with Torah, amazing things would happen. Birds would fly over and get burnt, some would say. That fire would surround them. Mamash, it was miracles when they sat down and studied Torah. So Rabbi Elazar is sitting down with his group of friends and he studied. The Zohar says that for meanwhile, a traveler walks by, a goy, not Jewish, and he sees this. He says, wow, Jews studying Torah, and with this Torah, they're doing what we could even call magic, we could even call things that are above the nature. So this not-Jew, this non-Jewish person, he said, I want to go speak to Rabbi Elazar. So he came to Rabbi Elazar and he said, Rabbi Elazar, I see you're studying and you're surrounded by fire. I want to tell you something amazing. So Rabbi Elazar looked at him and said, okay, what do you want to tell me? So he says, I have a book that was given to me by my father that my father received it from his father, and his father from his father, that is actually the book of secrets for Aleph, for first of all, refuah, healing, but not just healing any sickness, healing of everything. Healing of neshamot, healing of panasa, healing of zivug, healing of happiness, healing of confidence, healing of anger, healing of everything. That actually in this book, even though I'm not Jewish, it is built all on, most of it at least, on secrets brought from your Torah. A lot of pesukim from the Torah, a lot of tzirufim. There's a concept in Kabbalah we call tzirufim. We don't do it today, but tzirufim is essentially when you take letters and you put them together, and when you put them together in a certain order and with the right intentions, you can do miracles. That actually, Zohar says that there's a concept of controlling the letters. All the world, I'm not going to get into it, but all the world is built on these letters. If you're able to know how to place the letters, a person can do miracles. That's the concept of tzirufim. So this guy, he says, those tzirufim, secrets of sefirot, how a person can use the sefirot to change things, how can use the sefirot to heal people. Even lechashim, the Zohar says. What is a lachash? Whispers. That there were the secrets of the whispers, that even whisper the same concept. The person that knows secrets in whispering certain things to bring down certain angels, that you can do miracles. And this guy, he says, not only that I have all those secrets inside this book, I even have secrets from Bilam. In this book, not just brought all the Kabbalah Ma'asit, secrets from the Torah, I even have secrets from the Tum'ah. That it said Bilam was the biggest mikashef, the biggest sorcerer that exists in the world. So actually in this book, it's full of all the sorcery of Bilam. So Rabbi Elazar, he heard this. He said, you know what? This book sounds incredible. I want to see this book for myself, and I want to show it to my father. So he looked at this guy, and he said, is it possible I can borrow the book? So the guy, he said, b'simcha. As long as you know that you return it back to me, I'll give it to you b'simcha. So the Zohar says that the guy ran to his home, brought the book, and gave it to Rabbi Elazar. And the book stayed in the possession of Rabbi Elazar for 12 months. And he says there, he speaks in the Zohar, because it's mamash like him writing. He says the secrets that I found there about the Sifirot and about the healing were incredible. And especially he mentions the concept of the Sifirot. What is the concept of the Sifirot? This is something that we mention often. But this is something all the Baalei Kabbalah actually taught, learned, and acted upon this concept. So we say about that in last week's Parasha. What did we mention? We are built in what? The shape of Hashem. Tzelem Elokim. That we're actually copied from what? Ha'adam HaKadmon. What is this Ha'adam HaKadmon? Ha'adam HaKadmon is like the man that was created before man. Who is this man? This man, as well says, was never existed, never born. In Shomer Emunim, he has an entire book. Shomer Emunim, Ha'adam HaKadmon. Entire book. Shomer Emunim is one of the most deepest books you can find, and that exists. He has an entire book just about the man that was created before man. So essentially, we are created from a build of what? The shape of Hashem. What is the shape of Hashem? It's the Sefirot that are put together in the shape of a man, somewhat of a man, that each Sefirah gives life to a specific body part. Now, if it gives life for a specific body part, it also means that what? That a person could heal that body part just by knowing where the problem lies in the Sefirah, or maybe a person that sinned and brought some kilkul, brought some defect to that Sefirah in that place. So if you know where it is and what was the defect, you can also know how to repair it. So Rabbi Elazar, he says the secrets that were brought of the concept of healing through the Sefirot were secrets that were hidden from the beginning of time. That actually a person can come to a complete healing just by understanding the Sefirot and knowing how to repair it. It was Rabbi Nachman wrote a book about that, about healing. And there were many books. No, the book of Rabbi Nachman was burnt. The book of Rabbi Nachman of healing was burnt, and it does not exist because he said it is not, if people will know it, nobody will die. To that level, a person can heal himself just with the build of the Sefirot. Because if you know where it's broken, like we said, you can focus on that place, see how to repair it, and you can repair it. So Rabbi Elazar, he said the secrets I learned with the Sefirot how to bring pesukim, to bring pieces from the Torah, to break them apart, to take letters from there and to put together. Tzirufim, like we said. Tzirufim. Tzirufim. Huh? Sequence. Sequence. I knew that he would know. Rabbi, he didn't say he's like I have to give you a big flashlight. So in any case, sequence. I can take the pesukim and Rabbi Lazar says I was able to put together sequences that I was able to heal everything, any sickness, any problem, any parasha, anything that existed. I was able to heal just by through the Sefirot. And he says there in the Zohar, he says, and what I learned about Bil'am was shocking. Because Bil'am, as we know, was the biggest sorcerer in the world. So, Bil'am, all that sorcery came from what? The Zohar says came from his grandfather. That, where did his grandfather get all his secrets? Who's his grandfather? Lavan. Where did he get all the secrets of healing and the secrets of acting? He got it from the snake. And I'll explain. So we know that Adam Arishon had a problem with who? Clearly. With who? With the snake. The snake didn't like Adam and did everything to fight Adam Arishon. Mentioned in many places, actually not mentioned in the Gemara. If you want to find who Adam is, look at the face of who? Of Yaakov. That Yaakov and Adam Arishon are identical the way they look one each other. The story is in the Gemara that people went into the Marat al-Machpelah, the cave of the forefathers, and they wanted to look. There was a man that wanted to see how Adam looked. And when he entered to the room of Adam Arishon screamed, "Don't look at me, you cannot look at me. Because I resemble the image of Hashem. But if you want to know how I look without being harmed by the light, go to Yaakov." The truly Yaakov was the resemblance of Adam Arishon. It was the resemblance, it was the last piece of his reparation also. So really Yaakov and Adam had a lot of connections. It said in the Zohar Kadosh that who brought sickness to the world? Yaakov. What does that mean? Yaakov Avinu, before Yaakov Avinu, it said that a person would live, and right before he had to die, he died. He died at that point, exactly at that time. That there was no concept of rega. There was no concept of healing, of doing teshuvah. If you did something wrong and you were supposed to die, you die healthy. So actually, you can also understand how people really were able to live eternally, because sickness didn't exist until Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu prayed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring sickness down to the world. Why? Because the Zohar HaKadosh says that Yaakov said that maybe if they receive judgment to die, if Hashem gives them a little bit time before they receive the punishment to understand something wrong is happening, then they will be able to do teshuvah. So actually Yaakov Avinu prayed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give people a chance to do teshuvah. That sometimes when we see that something hurts, we have to really do cheshbon, what did I do wrong that I can repair it? Because really the concept of sickness was prayed by Yaakov in order to give a person a chance to get up and do teshuvah before the punishment comes into action. Yaakov Avinu brought down this concept of teshuvah, of having the sickness. So the snake came and said, I want to go against what Yaakov did. So he went to Lavan. And it said that the snake would whisper in Lavan's ear the healing to every sickness that exists. That any sickness that Yaakov brought down to the world, the snake told the secret to Lavan. Why? Just to fight the will and the act that Yaakov did. What's amazing is that thousands of years later, what's the symbol of healing? The snake. The symbol of any hospital, on any ambulance, on any bet merkachat, pharmacies, what? It's a snake. Always, I get the bag when I get sick from antibiotics, 20 times a year. I have the symbol of the snake that's you wouldn't start pharmacy. The symbol of the snake. Why? Because the snake was the first one that was able to look through whatever level he had of spirituality to find the healing, just to fight the acts of Yaakov. Rabbi Azar writes his book, in the Zohar Kadosh, that inside this book All the secrets of healing that the snake told Lavan, that gave it to Bilam, were written there. And it says Rabbi Elazar for 12 months dwelled in this book like there was no tomorrow. And he actually used the secrets of the Kedusha, and only the Kedusha, to heal people. The Zohar says one day, Rabbi Elazar had a man that he had a problem, he was a sickness, could be with Parasha, it could be with Zivu, it could be with anything. He had some sort of sickness. So Rabbi Elazar came to his ear, and he started to do these whispers, which is very ironic. A lot of people think that these whispers, I said it's a small class this week, I'm going to go say things that I don't usually say. These whispers, people think that they're quiet, but they're exactly the exact opposite. So many years ago, there was a tzaddik that passed away not a long time ago, but it was in the previous generation. The Rav Kaduri would send people to him. He was a very, very poor tzaddik. He lived in Yerushalayim. Nobody knew him. Rav Kaduri said he could do things that Rav Kaduri couldn't do, to that level. So whenever people had certain things that were wrong with them, Rav Kaduri, the last person that did Kabbalah would refer them to him. And it was very secretive of how you go to him and how you're not allowed to give him money. Very, very secretive. And my Chavuta was one of the people that actually helped this Rav whenever he needed help. Because my Chavuta would take Rav Kaduri to the mikveh every single Friday. So he said always when people would go to hear whispers, Rav Kaduri said you go to him to have him do whispers, people would get shocked. Because it was not a whisper at all. It said that he would go to the person in his ear and he would scream in his ear. They would scare a person to the point where it was a very, very scary. It was the opposite of whisper. In any case, Rabbi Elazar one day was doing these whispers to a man to heal him. And suddenly, he received from Shamayim that he's doing something wrong and he must stop. So right away he stopped. So right away he stopped and he understood that something was wrong. The Zohar says that night he went to sleep. And when he went to sleep, 2 angels came to him in the dream. And these angels started to scream at him. And these angels said, why are you entering a world that doesn't belong to you? You're trying to use this power, you're trying to use the higher worlds to heal people down here. Don't enter something that does not belong to you. Step out. It says in the morning, Rabbi Elazar woke up, and sadly, he had to part in ways with this book. So Zohar Kadosh says that Rabbi Elazar was crying when he was giving him this book because he said there's so many secrets of Kedusha that I'm not yet to learn by the Sefirot, by anything. But he understood that the book cannot stay in its position. So he took Rabbi Yossi and he gave Rabbi Yossi the book and he said, give it to that man, return it back to the owner. As a conclusion, Rabbi Elazar writes, and he says, all the secrets, because he does not mention these secrets in the Zohar, he mentions other places, all the secrets that I learned in this book, to make it simple, in a way that we can all apply to it, whether if it's, like we said, healing Parasha, healing Zivu, healing anything that exists, it all comes down to one simple thing. It comes down to using simple psukim to reading simple psukim that we already know and we already read, and just having in mind the concept of reparation of the Sefirot, of the 10 Sefirot, and that's how a person can reach to all the healings that we wrote in the book. And that's his conclusion of that entire book. That we can all reach to a healing of whatever it is just by using the Sefirot as a key, as a medicine in order to reach to any level. So now, but yesterday, I spoke about something that I'm going to share a little bit about it, which is very interesting. Yesterday we brought a Zohar Kadosh that speaks about the time of Shacharit. So we said yesterday that the time of Shacharit, who put together the prayer of Shacharit? Avraham. Avraham is what? Chesed. Chesed is the first Sephirah that is an action Sephirah. Because we have 10 Sephirot. Chabad. So Chabad is Chokhmah Bina Dat. And the first Sephirah, which is our thought, the first Sephirah, which is an action, is Chesed. So actually the Zohar Kadosh says that in the morning, the Sephirah of Chesed comes down to the world and is spread around the world, and Chesed, that Sephirah, is put into action. Well, Zohar HaKadosh says, what is chesed? It's kindness, essentially. That in that time of Shacharit, all the prisoners of the king. What is a prisoner of the king? What does a person to do to become a prisoner? He does a crime. Once he does a crime, he goes against the law, and the king puts him in jail, or he punishes him with whatever punishment, or whatever it could be. So Zohar HaKadosh says that in the time of chesed, and when the time that the king is holding on to the attribute of kindness, all the prisoners of the king can come and to ask forgiveness, or not just ask forgiveness, ask for what they want from the king, and the king at that time will act with what attribute? Kindness. Because kindness is put into action. That if a person is suffering, because maybe there's something, whatever it could be, he's suffering for whatever reason. And at the time of kindness, he says, Hashem, please stop this, give me panasa today, I want to succeed today, give me the power to fight Yitzhak, like we mentioned. In that moment of the morning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is full of kindness. The Sefirah is active. Then we mentioned that at that moment of the morning, the angel Raphael, which Raphael is in charge of what? Healing, so it's like a return, healing of the neshama, healing of the body, healing of everything. Goes to the Gan, goes in the middle of Gan Eden, and he stands in the middle and he waits for Sar Yisrael. What is Sar Yisrael? Who is Sar Yisrael? Who is Sar Yisrael? No. Michael. I'm waiting for you to answer. Michael, Sar Yisrael. But Michael, Sar Yisrael brings up, what does he bring with him? He brings with him the attribute of kindness. He gives the attribute of kindness to Raphael. Raphael takes the prayers in one hand of all people that are praying at the time of Shacharit, and on the other hand he holds the chesed and he runs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When he reaches to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he puts them both in front of Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has one side kindness and the other side prayers, puts them together, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu acts with kindness and brings healing and releases those who are prisoners down in this world. Something beautiful. It's how we use one sefirah, we use kindness. But the bottom line, that's only one sefirah. It's just kindness out of another 10. There's another 9 full sefirot that we can learn and act. If a person is going to act with 9 different things every single day, he's not going to be able to work. 9 different things that he has to put together. How is that possible? So how can really, Rabotai, a person with one act bring together all the 10 sefirot and repair and use the strength of all the 10 sefirot in one moment? That it's not a delay, it's not a spreading of the time to one, you have to do chesed and gvura and this and that. One moment. So maybe next week or the week after, we're going to speak about something that I've been wanting to speak about also, which that is the 7 gates of tefillah. So we mentioned in the past that there is the first gate, which is called Levenet Safir, which is the first gate where all your prayers need to go through. And in that gate, what exists? 7 other gates. What are those gates? What are they attached to? What are their names? It's not just Levenet Safir, there's Levenet Safir, it's Hashamayim, Kodesh Kodashim, Noga, Zuchut, Ahava, Ira, different names of gates. Maybe in the future we're going to speak about that because it's very beautiful. And it's essentially how to force your prayer inside. Amazing. It's a little bit deeper Kabbalah, but I think it's something that could be very useful, how to actually do action. But now, today, what can we do, Rabotai, to really bring all of the Sefirot to a reparation and really bring a healing to one's life? So now, Rabotai, we mentioned earlier that today is Elul Avu, Rabbi Shimon Tzadik. Then we said that Rabbi Shimon Tzadik, one of the miracles was what? Ketoret. The Ketoret, that it would go up like a stick. So what is this concept of the Ketoret? Zohar HaKadosh says that every single morning, the Kohen Gadol, every single morning, every single evening, the Kohen Gadol would get up, like we mentioned, take 11 spices, put them all together, make a mixture, however he would do it, and he would do the Ketoret, where the smoke would go up. The Zohar HaKadosh says, and this is mentioned also in the Gemara, not just something that is attached to the Zohar, whenever the Ketoret would go up, everyone who saw it, in that moment where they saw the Ketoret going up to Shamayim, their hearts melted. Where it said that the smell of the Ketoret would bring such a happiness that one who looked at it couldn't help himself but do a complete teshuvah, be completely happy. The Zohar says if he was sick, if he had a cold, suddenly he was not sick anymore. If he was sad, suddenly he was not sad anymore. But essentially the Ketoret was like the healing of everything. Where it says that a person couldn't see or smell the Ketoret and not do teshuvah. He couldn't resist the smell of the Ketoret. It was something that was unimaginable. You would see it, you would smell it, and that's it. You would finish. Any yitzhara, any evil inclination that one had, or that one was in the middle of having, and then they smelled the Ketoret, in that very moment, his evil inclination disappeared. The Zohar says that the Kohen, how would he know that the Ketoret was going up correctly? So he would look up in Shamayim, and you would see that around this pipe of the Ketoret, it says something amazing. It said that you would see merkevaot. It's like chariots. The chariots, that on these chariots, what are placed? All the letters of the Sefirot. And they would go up to Shamayim, and you would see how the chariots were dancing around with such happiness, that it would go straight to Shamayim, and he would see Yetzirah running out of the city. That Yetzirah was not able, not Yetzirah, and not have any of his associates or not any of his influence, was able to exist at the time that the Ketoret was leaving the Beit HaMikdash. That the Kohen Gadol would see Yetzirah running away. That he couldn't bear seeing the Ketoret. That actually the Ketoret was the death of the evil inclination. Why is that? Why is the Ketoret the death and the polarizing opposite of the evil inclination? So Arizal says something beautiful. Arizal says, before before the sin of the tree of knowledge, the world was what? Complete. And we mentioned this a lot. It was complete, it was beautiful, it was perfect. The evil inclination was what at that point?
Outside.
No. Before the sin. There was no outside, there was no inside. Yetzirah was a regular angel. His name was Samael, don't repeat. Regular angel that even said that he had a piece in Kedusha. That the same way you have Uriel, Daniel, Michael, and the rest of the angels, Raphael, Michael. The same way you had the angel, you had Samael. Which Samael, his job was what? He was just more judgment. That was his position. His position, he would represent bad, but not even bad, it was a temporary bad. So it wasn't really a bad thing. Before the sin of Adam HaRishon. So wait, before the sin of Adam HaRishon, he was a pure, complete angel, simple angel. It gives him such power that today he's suddenly everywhere. He's with you, with me, with everyone. That he has such hold in the world that he corrupts most of the people of the world. How is that possible? So Zohar Kadosh says, when Adam ate from the tree, what did he do? He brought a separation where the world started to break. That inside these cracks, pieces of the world, which we refer to them as what? As sparks, fell down to the world and they were hidden in the physical world. Okay? Those sparks actually what complete the build of this world, of the higher world. That those sparks are the essence of what completes us. The Zohar Kadosh says that when the sparks, Rapach Nitzotzot, fell down to the world, Yetzirah had a clever idea. He said, now I'm just a regular angel right now. But what's going to happen if I take these sparks? They have such power, and I use them. So the Zohar Kadosh says that Samael, regular angel, took 11 sparks, 11. And he took those 11 sparks and he attached them to him. Where he embedded the sparks in his own, and there's no flesh because he's an angel, but he embedded 11 sparks inside of himself. In the moment he embedded those 11 sparks inside of himself, it actually made him into what? It made him into this powerful monster. That suddenly, he has it's like an atomic generator inside his body. That is how Samael receives all his strength. And that's what made him such a powerful force down here in this world. The Zohar Kadosh says, this Arizal Mechila, this is the Arizal that brings it from the Zohar, which is in Parashat Vayikra. It says that How many spices are inside the Ketoret? 11 spices. Each spice, what does it do? The Zohar, Arizal says, it goes under the skin of the Satan, and it removes that spark that is attached to it. That actually that Ketoret is what pulls out his source of life. Once you pull out the source of life, what happens? He dies. So actually, the death of Satan, I'm not going to say his name again, is what? Was what? The bringing of the Ketoret. The bringing of the Ketoret is what killed all the strength that he had. That is why in the generation at that time of Bet HaMikdash, that's what brought the protection. When we read that in the Bet HaMikdash there were no flies at the sacrifices, that everything was complete, that came from the existence of the lack of the Satan and Yitzhara. Now, but I have a question. Where did we receive this Ketoret from? Who gave us this Ketoret? It's such a powerful thing that Bnei Yisrael were given, that it's the secret to actually killing the evil inclination in this world. Who? It's not a question and answers, Rabotai. So anyway, who gave us this power? So we know, Rabotai, that in the giving of Matan Torah, it's that Moshe Rabbeinu went up to the sky for how long? 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights. When he went up to Shamayim, we all know the famous midrash that says that the angels started to fight and argue with Moshe Rabbeinu. He said, Moshe, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're giving the Torah to this man? Who is this man? HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked at Moshe and he said, answer them. And Moshe Rabbeinu actually got up and proved them to be wrong. We put every single angel back in his place. After he gained everyone's respect, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, take the Torah, bring it down to the world. When Moshe Rabbeinu was holding on to the Torah, which was the creation that Hashem created before even the angels were created, where it said, like we mentioned, 974 generations before the creation of anything, Hashem was playing with the Torah. And here it's in the hands of Moshe. Every single angel came to Moshe and he brought him a gift. That every single angel went to its most prized attribute or its most valuable trait that it had, packaged it in a gift, in a box, and gave it to Moshe Rabbeinu. So Raphael gave him maybe refuah, that says everyone in Har Sinai healed. Ariel maybe gave them the koach, the power to stand in front of hearing the voice of Hashem. I don't know, every angel brought, it mentioned some of the gifts, but not all of them. Came the turn of the Satan, Samael, to bring a gift. Now, what good does Satan have to offer? So, the Zohar HaKadosh said that the Satan sat down and said, okay, what can I give him that's going to be considered a gift for him? Because there's nothing that I can give him that he will appreciate and use as value. So he was forced to give what? He was forced to give the recipe to his death. That he was so pushed to give him the only thing that is actually valuable, which is the secret of the Ketoret. That the Ketoret is what actually destroys himself. So we see about that the Ketoret is something that is above that we can even imagine. It's like it's something that was given by us from the Satan that actually cleans the world from him. So we see about how big and how powerful the Ketoret was at that time. And who to go back to the concept that is the Ilura. And who was Rabbi Shimon HaTzadik? That he received that the Ketoret would act like it was in the first temple. Amazing. Tachazi. What does Tachazi mean? Come and see. The Zohar, right after Rabbi Shimon invites us, says, come, look. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai states, Rabbi, something amazing. He says, and this should be a secret for all mankind. Any person down in the world that has a problem of suffering of any sort, like we said, health, refuah, panasa, zivu, confidence, anything we could imagine, sadness, anger, lack of anything we could imagine, which I don't know anyone that doesn't suffer with something. We all somewhat battle our battles on a daily basis. Rabbi Moshe Aharon says, anyone that suffers with any problem should hold the secret that was given by the Satan to heal himself from any problem that he has. Where the Zohar Kadosh says, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, that if a person gets up and reads the Ketoret, and mitbonen ba Ketoret, and he reads it word by word, and he reads it twice a day, one in the morning and one in the night, there is no harm in the world that can injure, that can hurt a person like that. Because what he is doing is he's actually cleaning his surrounding and bringing down an ashpa'ah, an influence of lack of Yetzer Hara. Because wherever there is the 4 steps of the Ketoret, Yetzer Hara cannot enter. It's like flame fire. He walks into fire. So actually the cleaning of ourselves, our surrounding, is the Ketoret. The Zohar Kadosh says, if a person reads the Ketoret twice a day, he will receive Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. That he will achieve having this world in his hand, and he will achieve having the next world in his hand as well. Why is that? We can understand at least why he receives this world. Because the moment that he does the Ketoret, the Zohar says, no judgment can fall on him. No judgment can fall on him. No evil can come and take out from his Kedusha, because he's protected. Most of our problems coming from the evil. So once you take away the evil, you're already in a very good and safe place. So this world, it is clear. The person cleans himself from any bad sickness, anything. Why the next world? How can one, by reading the Ketoret, actually see the next world? Because the Zohar says that there is no mitzvah. This, when I heard this, and this is amazing, it's actually brought also in the book of Shlomo Melech. It says there's no mitzvah in the world that gives Hashem joy like the Ketoret. Like it said, Shemen v'Ketoret yisameach lev. Where there is no mitzvah that a person can do for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like the Ketoret. No mitzvah, no limud Torah, no tefillah. And the Zohar even compares tefillah and Ketoret side by side. And he tries to explain why Ketoret is completely different from tefillah. Where it says that tefillah is what? Tefillah is ichud, is reunion of a man's will and a man in his neshama to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's prayer. Prayer is where you go and you connect yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you connect yourself to your Father. But what is Ketoret? Ketoret is, and this is what the word that Zohar uses, it's taking the 10 Sefirot that we just spoke about, which are in charge of Tikkun Olam, which are actually the recipe to repairing the world, and it actually ties them all together and repairs them all. Because the destruction that exists in this world is actually the destruction that exists inside those 10 Sefirot. So if you come and you start to clean those 10 Sefirot, what do? You actually bring the Geula forth. It's not a matter of just saying, Mashiach, Mashiach, Mashiach. It's actually acting upon that thought of wanting to have Mashiach, which is already something amazing. That's why it says, but how does one receive actual reward on a personal level? Okay, so you make Hashem happy, but is it a mitzvah? Is reading the Ketoret a mitzvah? It was a gift by the Satan, but where is the mitzvah? Because Zohar Kadosh is something amazing. He says, today, we don't have Ketoret. You can't go and get up and do Ketoret. You can't. But your neshama is able to do Ketoret. What does that mean? Zohar says, if a person takes a Ketoret and he reads it word by word and understands everything and really tries to absorb as much, and he has in mind that the 10 Sefirot are here hidden, it's a matter of taking them out. A person like that, his neshama attaches himself. This is we can't even try to grasp on it. The neshama attaches himself to the Ketoret and brings that protection upon himself. That actually it reverses the effect of what? Of our sins. Because it's the lack of the Satan. Reverses the effect of our sins. When we sin, we bring destruction and we pogim. Hurting. We bring some damage to the Sefirot. That's when we sin. When we do mitzvot, we repair. But the Ketoret, what it does is it simply brings a place where the Satan no longer exists. Where a person can find his own neshama completely clean and heal himself from all the bad that exists, whether the result of his doings or what exists around him. That's why I said there is no place that Ketoret is not written, is not being read, that doesn't have judgment there. Meaning any place that there is not reading Ketoret, guaranteed to have judgment there. Because the judgment, the Yitzhara, the bad influence, has a place, has a grasp, has a hold in a place that they're not reading Ketoret. There's also something amazing. He says, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he says, if we knew, we're in a private class this week, there's no timing, I'm going to go until tomorrow morning. If we knew the value of the Pitoma Ketoret, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, we would take every letter, we would make those letters into gold, and we would create a crown where the Pitoma Ketoret was, the entire Pitoma Ketoret was placed on it, just to show how much we appreciate such blessing that it brings. To that level. It's something that is incredible. Tachazi, Amar Rabbi Pinchas. Zohar continues on. Rabbi Pinchas got up and he said, I have a chidush to say. So Rabbi Pinchas got up. He said, one time, I was walking in the road, traveling. And suddenly, to my surprise, I see who on the road? Eliyahu Hanavi. So I didn't see Eliyahu Hanavi in a long time. So Zohar said, I took the opportunity to go and to speak to him, to get some secrets from him. So Rabbi Pinchas came to me with Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair. It doesn't specify if it was Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair or a different Rabbi Pinchas. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair was the father-in-law of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Just mentioning. In any case, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair says Eliyahu Hanavi. So he came to me and he says, Rabbi Eliyahu Hanavi, tell me the secrets to the world, the secrets of achieving everything in this world. So Eliyahu Hanavi looked at him. I said, there is a secret that HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses the secret as a threat to push away all the angels that want to come and to tell about his kids. So Rabbi Chassidut says, okay, what is the secret? He says, every single day, we are all essentially judged, fortunately or unfortunately, somewhat by our prayers and by our doing. So for example, just to give an example, a little introduction to whenever we're going to speak about this, the shiur of the 7 gates, the first gate, Lavan Tzafir, attached to what Sefirah? Yesod and Malchut. That the first gate is Yesod and Malchut put together. Ironically, Yesod is for the act of the brit of a man, and Malchut is to represent the doings of a woman, the act of a woman. Yesod and Malchut, it's man and a woman. So actually, according to your purity, your prayers are judged. Good or not good, that's the first gate. Lavan Tzafir is where your prayers start to go up. So according to our prayer, we are actually determined and somewhat judged, hopefully always in a good way, but sometimes, whenever we pray and we have a lot of wrongdoings, there are angels that can come and say, look, this man is praying, but look what he has on his back. He has this sin and this sin and this sin and this sin. And they run to Hashem. And Zohar Kadosh says that there is Pamalia Shelmala, all the Pamalia group of, it's like Aharon Pamalia. Entourage of the bad angels, they come to Hashem and say, wow, today we're going to go to Hashem, we're going to make sure that man, after what he did, we're going to give him a big hit. And these angels are actually formed from what? From impurity. They are the result of the Satan. So they come to Hashem. When they arrive to Hashem, Eliyahu Hanavi is told, Pinchas ben Yair, if the man that they're trying to bring punishment upon him reads Pitoma Ketoret, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? He goes, brings that Pitoma Ketoret that he read, and he throws it on those angels. Causing what? Those angels to do what? To run away. Because they're afraid of being destroyed by the Pitoma Ketoret. The Torah says that not only do they run away, they beg Hashem, please don't drop it on us. So what does Hashem do? This is something that I laughed when I read. I remember reading it, I don't know how long ago, it's even funny. It says that Hashem threatens them until, instead of saying the bad doings, they're forced to admit on what? On the good doings of that man. So actually, those angels that said, we're going to get that man punished, they end up being stuck like this with a sword that Pitoma Ketoret on their neck, saying, he's a good man, he's a tzaddik, you saw he's prayed? Look, he prayed. So actually, it goes back to that same concept of yesterday. that sometimes the punishments can do what?
Good.
Can bring good. Not the punishment. The hardships sometimes are the cause of the good that we have in our life. But that's the power of Pitom HaKetoret, of just reading Pitom HaKetoret. And we read it twice a day.
So how do we apply it today?
So we read it twice a day. The Zohar said we should read it twice a day. In shuls, we read it 3 times a day. Where do we read it 3 times a day? We read it first before Shacharit. Why before Shacharit? Because we said we want to clean, first of all, any bad that the Kahal has, in order to do tefillah, which will be completely pure. And we'll go straight up to Shamayim. Because the Ketoret goes up straight. It's the thing that makes Hashem most happy. We do the tefillah in its order, like we said, it's you go from bottom to up, you go from down to up. When you go Olamot Yabia, Atzilut, Berei Yetzirah Asiyah, and you go from up, then you descend down. In the end of tefillah, before I get up to speak the daily spark, what do they read? Pitom HaKetoret again. The second time is we say because we don't want, after our prayer, after all the kedusha that we're bringing down without our prayer, we're going to bring down big bracha, big blessing. The last thing we want is chas v'shalom, the evil inclination to come and to take from that blessing to feed himself. So what do? We read the Pitom HaKetoret, then after the blessing is being poured on us, we clean it away. And the third time we read it in shuls is before mincha. Mincha is the time of when gvura, which gvura is essentially strength, but also can be judgment. So before we even get into the prayer of judgment, we do Pitom HaKetoret to clean, then we do Pitom HaKetoret. Now, Rabbi Ariel, what you do to me? In any case, Ken.
Continue my question. It seems like it's the prayer that people in observations
No.
put less concentration on,
Because
and they go fast. So
that's
it
the
seems
essence.
that-
That's the essence of Yetzer Hara convincing you to do something wrong. You know, there's always deeds that people do that if they do 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, they receive baracha. But suddenly you'll see that after 2-3 days, it's like there is a, like what is it? Like what? I get to give an example. Like a lot of time I tell people when they have hardships to light candles to tzaddikim. Or it's the 2 minutes, especially the 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes of Bono Shalom, the 2 minutes where we say to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When they do it, the days they do it, they feel amazing. But for some reason, they feel like a pull to not do it. It's like you have Yetzer Hara, that 2 minutes, Bono Shalom is going to push. You know what, 5 more minutes, you start, and then you end up not doing it at all. So actually, the things that bring you the most bracha, you'll see that you'll have, at least in the beginning, the most fight with. But the problem is that most of us can't really get through it. A lot of times, just to get through it is the recipe that we have to do. Once we get through it, it's fine. There's one more story in the Zohar, and here I'm going to leave you alone. In this class, I think we did a long class. Baruch Hashem. Beautiful story with Rav Acha. But it says one time Rav Acha was traveling, and he entered to a kfar, to a small city. When they saw Rav Acha the Tana, they said, we have to get some help from him, because we have an epidemic in the city. That they said that people, every day, you had 7 people, and there was a small city, epidemic in the city. People are dying like flies. You're Tana, help us. So Rav Acha, he said, you know what, gather all the people in the shuls, and we're going to tefillah. While they are walking to the shuls and gathering the people, more people came and they said, there's no time to spare, because now, before it was 7, now it's 100 that are dying. That the time is very, very mitzumtzam, no time to think. So, the Zohar says that actually, Rav Acha told them, stop. We're not going to go to shul to pray. Gather me 40 of the biggest tzaddikim in the city. 40. That he took those 40 tzaddikim, and he brought them together, and he gave each one the Pitom HaKetoret. He told them, you go to one corner, 10 people. You go to another corner, 10 people. And like that, he split to each 4 corners of the city. Rav Acha said, when you get to the 4 corners of the city, I want all of you to read 3 times, but do it with mamash prayer, the Pitom HaKetoret. But do it fast. They split the group to 4, each one to their corner, and they read Pitom HaKetoret, Pitom HaKetoret. They were screaming and praying and praying. The Zohar says that right after they finished the 3 times, there was a noise. The Zohar said that the entire city shook. That this noise was a scream that was screamed, they're using the gift I gave Moshe to kick me out of the city. And it said, the Zohar said that right afterwards, that day the epidemic stopped, and Rav Acha even got sad that the epidemic stopped. He said, because I should have brought them to tshuva, then taught them the secret. So he said that afterwards, Rav Acha came to them and he said, I did with your chesed that I was not supposed to do. At least do teshuvah in the merit of the miracle that you saw. And it says that entire city actually came back with teshuvah in the merit of that Pinto Ketoret. So actually, Rabotai, the biggest segula that we can do is the reading of Pinto Ketoret. The biggest segula that we can all do on a daily basis, if we want really to be to bring that protection upon ourselves, to repair the sefirot, to repair our own neshama, is the reading of the Pinto Ketoret. If you want to do it twice a day, like the Zohar says, Tavo alecha bracha.
And then to give the gift. You know the story that he meant to see their face, and he didn't let them, but then he convinced and he told them like, he probably lies, he just passed and he let them see his back.
The face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Moses demanded to see it. He told them, I want to see your face.
Hashem's face.
Yeah.
Ken.
And when he told them, I want to show my face, but I show my back.
Nachon.
And when he went,
Tefillin he saw.
yeah.
The back of his tefillin. Nachon.
He just wanted to let it.
Ken. Or you wanted to share it. See, you shared it with everyone. Torah Baruch Hashem. Kol hakavod. But we actually explained that vision that he saw the back of his head as the nevuah, as the prophecy of seeing all the generations to come. Because like we said, when he saw the face of Hashem, he tapped into the consciousness of Hashem, that he was able to see like what Hashem sees the future. The angels were jealous. Emet. Ken Rabbi Meir.
The 11.
Meir, נכון?
Yes.
The 11 spices correspond to the 10 Sefirot?
No, 11 sparks.
11 sparks. I'm sure in Persian food they put more than the 11 spices.
Can we just do the 11 spices anyway?
No, we don't. What's amazing is there was people that scientists. I don't remember who told me this. I don't know if it's 100% true, but they said that they actually tried to re-imitate.
Oh, like synthetic.
They tried to re-imitate it, and they said they did it in a field. In that entire field, there was no bugs in that entire field for months. It was like not even one fly was able to enter.
Wow.
That's what I heard. Ken.
When Satan took all the pieces and he put it to himself, did Hashem want him to do that? Was it like his job to do that, or like it was his free will to do that?
Yetzer Hara did a lot of things he was not supposed to do.
So I thought they weren't created with free will. How was the?
As much as angels were not creating free will, also the angels somewhat did a lot of what they wanted.
Yeah, you're gonna follow him.
So you see, like last Parasha, when Chanoch was being taken, when Chanoch was being taken up to Shamayim,
He said that.
Chanoch sat down, Matetron. So when Chanoch was being taken up to Shamayim, and Hashem was actually transforming him into the biggest angel that exists. Chanoch was a man, and Hashem made him into Matet, which Matet is like the prime minister of Shamayim. While he was transforming him, Azai and Azael got upset. They said, why are you bringing this man to become an angel? So Hashem said, what do you mean? It's my choice, don't go. And it even said that many times the angels, especially in Parasha Bereshit, you see, they correct Hashem in the creation. How can an angel first of all correct Hashem? Why was Hashem doing a mistake in the first place to correct? So it even said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he created somewhat attributes of not flaw, but admitting that he was wrong, like what Hashem did, where he went back and fixed mistakes. Chas v'shalom said it was a mistake, but fixed mistakes that he did, just in order that when he copies his image and gives it to a man, that the man will have the attributes within himself of to admit mistake and to act with those same acts. So even though angels were not given free will, we see that they did a lot of things without permission. So Azai and Azael, they got so upset that Hashem is bringing up this Chanoch to become Matetron, where they went down to the world, they say, you're coming to take our world, we're going to come down to take your world. Where Azai and Azael came down, they said they took women. And they stayed in the earth, and they ended up sinning with women here. And that's why we say, I don't want to get this as my majdi, but I'll mention it. First of all, we say in Hebrew when we want to tell someone to go to To know where, what do we tell them? Let's go to Azazel. What is Azazel? Azza and Azael. Why? Because Hashem took them and He threw them actually to. It says in the Zohar that He was actually thrown to Arei HaChoshech. They were thrown. This is, I'm not even going to get into, but to what the Zohar called the dark mountains. Where actually that's where all the Sitra Achra dwells, and it still exists. And it gives actually the location of Arei HaChoshech. That it says Shlomo Melech actually would go there to study all his knowledge of impurity from those two people. No, I'm not even going to start speaking. And then Jenna, don't ask me about this afterwards, Vakasha.
Hashem allows some angels to be so powerful that they think themselves are God. I read that.
Angels, as much as they don't have the free will, they mistake, and we see that many times in history.
Yeah, mistake, but more than that, I read that some of them, it's a question, I read that some of them think that they are actually God. They're so powerful that they think they are God, and Hashem let them think that to do what they have to do.
Like the Satan, maybe, where Satan goes against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. He goes against the Kadosh Baruch Hu openly. But except for the Satan, all the angels are in line with Hashem.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
If we want, we can do one time a class.
About who's who?
Maybe we can actually attach that to the 7 gates. Because in the 7 gates, it says, I don't know if I'm going to mention all the names, but there's mamash 4 corners, each corner there's another angel, and it brings all the names and everything. There's actually different types of melachim. Melachim, Seraphim, Chayot HaKodesh, Kovim, you see, I didn't even mention Kovim. And Kovim is not a name that we add regularly. No, any more questions? Can Rabbi Aharon say?
When Hashem showed all the generations from Adam Rishon, before the Chet or after the Chet?
It was the generation was shown after the Chet. Because only afterwards he gave his 30 years of his life to David. So 7 years, Mechila, we lived. He was supposed to live eternally. After he did the sin, Hashem told him, "I'm going to give you 1 day to live." But because Hashem was kind, he said, "I'm not going to give you 1 day of yours. I'll give you 1 day of mine." Which 1 day of Hashem is what? 1,000 years. So that 1,000 years.